Hey everyone, my name's Maddie. I'm a 22-year-old competitive climber from Canada, currently living in Germany. Today I'm going to take you through a masterclass in slab climbing at Bouldering. So the slab you just saw, the key thing there is the foot switch. The thing about foot switching on slabs is usually you have a lot of weight on your feet. And in this case, it's no different. When I'm switching feet on the really bad dual text lined, no shadow foot, I need to make sure that I take as much weight off of my feet as possible. So to do that, I'm actually pressing off of the right hand and doing a very delicate foot switch. The thing about this foot switch too is you can't think about it too much. You're gonna hear squeaking, especially when there's dual text like this. You're gonna feel unstable. In this case, the foot was a little bit to the right, so it felt like I was kind of leaning to the left, and it didn't feel like I wanted to do the foot switch. The right foot was actually over to the right as well, so I needed to put my left foot there in order to get my right foot over. But either way, foot switches never feel good, especially on slab, so don't think about it. The more I think about a foot switch, or the more I think about how I don't trust a foot, the harder it is for me to actually successfully do the foot swap. I use the nothing to lose mindset, which you can find in this episode. Just don't think about it and go for it. The second tip about slab is don't think that you're not going to pull hard on slab. I'm not necessarily pulling like with my back as much on slab, but your fingers will work hard. Some slabs, of course, are no hands. That's like kind of the classic slab. But this slab, for example, I am pulling harder than I have on some crimp lines on like an overhang, because sometimes volumes are forcing you kind of to like fall off away from the wall, and a crimp sometimes is all you have to pull yourself back in. So everything that's stopping you from falling off the wall is just placed on your crimp. So do not neglect to warm up your crimps. So I had an attempt on the slab where I didn't trust the foot enough. I didn't put all my weight through it. I didn't fully commit to the move I was trying to do. And that's my absolute pet peeve. You want to commit no matter what. You want to just go for it. But it's way easier said than done, of course. So this is the mental training that goes into slab. You need to trust yourself and trust your feet and trust your shoes. I trust all of the above, and yet I'm still not committing to them. And it just takes practice. Like, I'm competing at World Cups, but I'm still working on trusting my feet in slab. Sometimes in competition environment, I find it's easier to trust my feet because I have to, like I have no choice. If I don't stand up, I don't move on to the next round or get on the podium. But when you're training, you know, obviously there's no stakes. It's kind of like when I was reading about ego. You know, I've got a lot of tools in my toolkit to think and talk about ego, but in the end, no one really can extinguish ego from their lives. So all we can do is notice it and do little things to try to improve it. Slab is always going to feel bad. All we can do is have an attempt here or there, or just get your brain like 5% better today, 5% better tomorrow at trusting bad feet and being confident on slab, on something that is made to make you feel not confident. Now, a quick note on screw holes. I used to think that it was kind of just cheap, but in the end, you do see this at World Cups. Screws for the next little while at least are always just going to be there. We can't really do much about it. We have to get the holes on the wall somehow. I don't know if they're planning on closing the screw holes or putting tape over them or something. I think for now it's not that big a deal in the World Cups because it's still very hard even with screw holes, and we still get the separation we need. It's not like people are completely cheating things, and all competitors can use this tactic as well, and they're very tiny and they hurt. It's definitely not making a hard move easy, maybe in some cases, but in most cases it's still quite hard. So I'm going to continue to use screw holes. I've actually been using screw holes a lot lately. It's just kind of been part of the bait I've been using on the boulders I've been getting on, and this one was no different. In order to get that foot onto the small chip with the screw hole, I was able to kind of pull myself in ever so slightly so that I could push my shin a little bit back, and just a little bit, because obviously too much and I'm falling off. And so that was dependent on me having a good grip on the left hand, and I had the screw hole on my right hand. So screw holes on slab, absolutely do it. You see it in World Cups, you see it in comps. There's no reason you shouldn't do it in training as well. Another tip about slab is try not to get frustrated. It is the easiest to get frustrated on slab because you're constantly slipping, you're constantly, taking rapid fire attempts because they don't take very much energy. But my best advice I can give you for slab is to slow it down. I may not be able to stop you from being frustrated on slab. Even I get frustrated on slab, more times than I care to admit. If you can just slow down your attempts a little bit, even if you're in a comp and it's like not taking any energy, you just like stand back, look at the boulder again. Maybe you have the wrong beta, maybe you need to switch things up a little bit. Being frustrated on slab is just a recipe for disaster. You have to be slow and calm. You have to be meticulous. You have to be patient. When you're frustrated, you are going too fast. You are not taking the time to do moves that you've already done before. Maybe you start falling earlier than you usually do. If you can help it, try to stay calm on slab. And the only way I can really say for you to do this is to not rapid fire your attempts too often. Next tip, take your shoes off frequently. They can go numb when you're standing on little chips over and over again. Frustrating, but sometimes the hardest move of slab is actually the first move. In this case, the start move is very hard. So remember back to the tip of the day in this video, where I said that just because you have 4 points of contact doesn't mean 2 hands have to start on those 2 hands and the 2 feet need to start on the feet. In this case, I don't have marked hands and feet. What I'm doing is I'm actually grabbing the foot first and then establishing my heel hook and then going back up to the start hand. As long as I don't move to the next hole before getting all 4 points of contact where they need to be, I'm good to go. So when it comes to really hard slab starts, definitely take advantage of this rule. Sometimes it will be very helpful to just grab the feet first. And this brings me to my next point, which is finishes. Do not make the mistake of thinking that your slab is over when you get to the finish hold, especially after you've done something very precarious and kind of low percentage and you get all the way to the finish hold only to rush it. It's not over until it's over. Might seem obvious, but I'm gonna throw Zach under the bus here. He has, at nationals, in finals, dropped the finish of a slab and lost the victory. He literally came in second. So do not rush it. Keep being patient. It's not over until you have both hands on that finish hold. In the attempt I just gave, I actually almost rushed it and I kind of bobbled back for a second. I had to bring myself back in and go even slower towards that finish hold because it was a bit further away than I thought it was. Now, of course, sometimes the finish move is a dynamic move and you gotta just go for it, but definitely don't take it lightly. Never assume that the hard part is over. So I've given you a bunch of slab advice today, but overall, the most important thing you can do is be confident when you're climbing. Trusting small feet, going for dynamic moves, standing up dynamically. It's all very dependent on the fact that you trust yourself to do the slab. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it very helpful. I'm actually very excited to go home and edit this. I hope you enjoyed this video and please like and subscribe so that we can continue producing content like this and spread the word about slab and technique.